Hey everybody, time for another game theory video. If you like the videos, like, sub, silly comment, share, support the channel. If you can, I appreciate it. Thanks. Super chat, PayPal, Patreon, super comment the video. I'll wait a second. Man, my voice, jeez. I'll wait a second. It doesn't hurt for you to like the videos. It doesn't hurt for you to sub. It does help the channel and it only takes you a second, I swear. Okay, I don't want to make too many videos about CVS2 because at the end of the day, I just don't care about the game that much. But that last video that I did on the game got a lot of comments and discussion. And again, I know one of the dudes in particular, he does post on my channel a lot. And as I said, dude, you can play whatever you want. Just like how people can watch whoever they want. You can watch whoever, someone talks shit about me, you can watch them, right? If you have fun watching somebody, watch them. If you have fun playing CVS2, play CVS2. I'm not telling anybody to play a game that they don't like. If you like CVS2, I think you should play it. Because why would you waste your life doing something you don't like, okay? When I'm having these conversations about video games, I'm trying to come at it as a more objective thing, from a more objective perspective, not a subjective thing, okay? Roll canceling. I can't think of roll canceling making any of these characters that were not good before roll canceling existed good. The characters that were generally not good in the game stayed generally not good. Characters that were good in the game, like Blanca and Bison, Sakura, Sagat, you know, the list goes on. These characters were good before roll canceling, and they're good after roll canceling, okay? Roll canceling, I think it's a fantasy world that you're trying to say that made the game so much better. Now, when I was making these videos about neutral, you have to come at it, remember what I've been talking about just in general. I'm going to show this your example as well. I was making these videos talking about neutral because a lot of times when people talk about neutral skips, etc., it's very disingenuous because neutral is a pretty broad spectrum, right? Is a fireball neutral? Maybe a fireball is fuck neutral because not everybody has a fireball. Maybe Zangief's lariat is fuck neutral because it goes through a fireball, right? Just like as I made those so many videos about Vega and Ryu. Vega's wall dive is not a fuck neutral because it's part of his neutral, right? Saying something is fuck neutral is pretty, you know, it's a stretch if you actually think about video games, right? There's very few instances where something can actually be truly a fuck neutral, right? But what I was saying, if you ask me, what would be a actual example of something that is fuck neutral, and that is roll canceling, because roll canceling has such an influence on the game, it changes neutral completely. Okay, well, completely, quotation marks, right? Because moves just don't function as they're supposed to, okay? Like, let me look at this Iori thing, right? I don't know. I don't know when he's going to do it, so there we go with that. I'm trying to see. Like I said, I don't know when he's going to do it, so I think he was getting ready to do it. So, you know, what I'm talking about, so let's like make him stop. Oh, and of course, you know, let's say just here. So I am in K Crew, but, you know, say, I mean, if you're not, you know, it can be kind of awkward to even punish that for a lot of characters. Of course, I know I have just defending. But think about this perspective. Let me turn this off for a second. This is the quality control. I'm doing this like live, so obviously this is whatever. If we're to think about neutral, right? Neutral, I'm checking attacks, whatever. I can't believe there was some guy trying to say that you don't check attacks in Street Fighter and that no one would ever try to knock Blanca out of a Blanca ball. Just, my God. How do you not know what I'm showing? Blanca ball is not as punishable as it is in other games. So obviously, if something is not as punishable as it is in other games, you would be encouraged to stop the move. Just like Ryu's Rush Fierce. Ryu's Rush Fierce, obviously this move functions differently in this game than other games. This move functions as a neutral tool because it checks attacks in this game while moving forward. This is like a check attack, whatever. You know what I mean? Check and attack, whatever. Say neutral's fireball, whatever the fuck I'm doing, right? There's lots of neutral. But you know what roll canceling does? Roll canceling beats everything. It's a forward moving dragon punch that is often more harder to punch than a dragon punch. The game was not designed to deal with this, right? Now, I said before, okay, the devil's argument, the devil's advocate for roll canceling would be that if both characters can do it, in neutral, then I would agree from a certain standpoint, it is now neutral, right? Doesn't change the fact that it's a bug and it shouldn't be in the game, especially when you're thinking it wasn't in CVS1, even though you could do it, which is absolutely, retarded, right? I would agree, hesitantly, but I would agree if both characters can roll cancel, then it is inherently the neutral, okay? However, when people get into stuff like this, and you kind of played yourself when you think about this, right? I understand that there are other things good besides roll canceling in the game. I understand that I picked K-Groove right here. K-Groove is effective at a high level, okay? I understand that other things can win. I understand that other things are good, okay? Guess what? Junk food is good, quotation marks. Junk food is good, and it gives me a dopamine spike if I eat junk food. But is it healthy? Is it healthy for you, your body? If your body was a game, go with this analogy that I'm saying. If your body was CVS2 and you're eating a bunch of junk food and you're like, wow, this is good. Is it actually healthy for you? Or would you say that the junk food is kind of a bug to your body? Does that make sense? Just like CVS2, roll canceling, maybe it's good, but is it actually healthy for the game when you see so many moves are not designed to deal with it? You can't play neutral the same. If you have if both characters can roll cancel, I understand that there is an argument that it could be neutral. However, when you start saying that there's other things that are good, does that mean it's healthy? Also, think about it from this perspective. If you're telling me that K-Groove is good, well, guess what? If I'm in K-Groove, I can't roll cancel. If I'm in Parry Groove, whatever, I'm not roll canceling. If I'm in S Groove, I'm not roll canceling. So guess what? Now, roll canceling is a fuck neutral, right? Do you see what I'm getting? I understand that K-Groove can be good, but guess what? If you're using K-Groove versus C-Groove, now we're back to where we started. Roll canceling is a fuck neutral because it stops everything. Your neutral tools no longer work the same because Iori has a forward-moving dragon punch that is actually less vulnerable than a dragon punch and more rewarding. The game was not designed for it. I understand K-Groove can just defend, and I understand there's other things, but in this term, I think if you're being honest, you have to say, oh, well, now roll canceling is back to a fuck neutral because it completely changes how neutral works, right? If we're not both roll canceling, where we can use the devil's advocate argument that now it is inherently neutral because we both have it. If you're going back, well, K-Groove is good too, whatever, okay, well then K-Groove can't roll cancel though. And now this other character has a thing that fucks all neutral. I'm not saying that K-Groove can't win. Obviously it does. But in these series of videos where I've been talking about what is fuck neutral and neutral skips and everything like that, and I have said many times, I think that is sort of a buzzword in the community. Because if you actually think about how games work, fuck neutral, you say, oh, Vega's wall dive is a fuck neutral. No, Vega is a Spanish ninja. He should be jumping off the wall. That's part of his neutral. Maybe he has to jump off the wall because he gets checked on the ground by certain attacks. Did you think Vega should have a fireball too on the ground? You know what I mean? Just like somebody's like, well, say that, when I talk about how two neutrals can combine to create a new neutral. Well, guess what? I used the example, Zangief's lariat goes through a fireball. But does that destroy Guile's neutral? It's interesting if you think about it from that sort of perspective, and it's like a stupid argument to show you and the other people that try to say so many things are fuck neutral, right? Because you could say that, Zangief's lariat is a fuck neutral because a fireball, is that not part of Ryu and Guile's tool set? But guess what? Zangief, most people, not maybe most people, but there is a inclination to say that Zangief actually beats Ryu in old school Street Fighter. There's an inclination to that, right? However, there is, I would say most people would say Guile actually destroys Zangief, despite Zangief having a fuck neutral move. If we're saying that Vega's wall dive is a fuck neutral, how can you not say that Zangief's lariat is a fuck neutral? So you're going to get, so I'm talking, it's comical what people will say is a neutral skip, right? But that's why I was using CVS2 as an example, because CVS2 is the example of a game where I think you could say this is a clear-cut example of something that is fuck neutral because the game was not designed for this, right? These moves weren't designed in neutral to combat it whatsoever. Devil's argument, again, how many times have I said it? 5 times in this video, whatever. If both characters can roll cancel, then I will say with a grain of salt, you could say that it is inherently then the neutral of the matchup. However, if then you're arguing me, oh, well, you know what? There's other grooves that win, like K-groove and all this kind of stuff. Okay, well, K-groove can win, but guess what? Since they can't roll cancel, this other groove says fuck neutral to them if they have the execution to do it, which I never said that roll canceling doesn't take execution. Okay, I know, again, there's a guy and other people that comment on my channel, they love CVS2. That's cool. If you like CVS2, play it, right? But I don't, and I'm not saying that roll canceling doesn't take skill. And there should be skill in games. There should be execution checks. But I'm not going to suck off a game for a bug that degenerates the neutral. And I've said this before, I don't think CVS2 is that amazing of a game in the first place. I've gone over many things in this game that do not work properly. Even without roll canceling, CVS2 is not that amazing of a game to me, okay? CVS2, when I think about the most amazing thing of CVS2 compared to CVS1, I just think it has more shit. And I know there is an argument, you could say more is better. I agree to a certain degree, right? But when you talk about how moves actually function in CVS1, how characters actually function, I am inclined to believe, although CVS1 is unfinished and lacking in certain areas, what is there actually works better than CVS2. CVS2 is full of brain farts, and even the roll canceling example is a perfect example, because how can you have something that was in CVS1 that what didn't make you invincible and now it makes you invincible in CVS2? Like, okay, I've made many videos about CVS2 compared to CVS1, and I've showed many of the actually good design choices in CVS1, which is kind of strange that you think that it didn't carry over to CVS2. Anyway, once again, if you like CVS2, play CVS2. Why would you play a game that you don't like? You don't need my permission to play CVS2. I'm just having these conversations from an objective standpoint, if you think about how games work. And if someone were to ask me, Clayton, if all these other things that people say are neutral skips are not neutral skips, then what is a real neutral skip to you? And I would say the first thing that pops up in my head would be something potentially like roll canceling. Remember, if you like the videos, like, sub, silly comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. The end.